श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। ॐ अचतुर्वदनो ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अभाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः। ॐ दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजा पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। Shri Rama Geeta, Bhagavan Shri Rama is now in this portion of the text guiding the seeker on the path of meditation. He says one thing is the abhyasa, the practice has to be consistent, regular, sincere, and such a person is very easily able to dissociate or disidentify from the world of objects or the instruments, which is anatma, and is able to experience the true self, which in this portion Bhagavan is referring to in the first person pronoun, that I become evident to such a seeker. The same thought moving forward, what should one person do in this? Yes, Bhagavan as the Supreme Self becomes evident to such a seeker, but what is the advice for such a seeker, or what does such a man of realization do? So that is being pointed out here in this further verses. Verse number 55 we shall read first. आदौ च मध्ये च तथैव चान्ततो भवं विदित्वा भयशोककारणम् हित्वा समस्तं विधिवादचोदितम् भजेत् स्वमात्मानमथाखिलात्मनाम् भजेत् स्वमात्मानमथाखिलात्मनाम्. First Having thus practiced consistently, he says, viditva, one comes to know. What does one come to know? Bhavam, one first comes to know this universe, bhava, this creation. And how do we recognize this creation? Bhaya shoka karanam. This creation, which was referred to as bhava or samsara right from the beginning, where Lakshmanji's question itself said, how can I cross or go to the other shore of this bhava easily, effortlessly and quickly. So this bhava, once you know it, how will we know anything if, even if we look at the mirror and want to see our reflection, if the mirror is kept very close to my face, I will not be able to see. So in order to see my reflection also, I need to move it away. Similarly, in this practice, I am moving away from the bhava. Bhava includes even our instruments, body, mind, intellect, etc. So when I am stepping back and looking at it, zooming out, then what happens? I am actually able to look at it, I am able to see it, I am able to know it, that this is the karanam, this is the cause of all fears, sorrow, bondage. So this creation which I was so attached to, I was so identified with, I understand this is the very cause. Now, bhava does not just mean the world or the instruments. It means the attachment and identification with the world and the instruments. Because world and the instruments by themselves will not be able to affect us in any way. It is only our attachment and our identification with that which creates problem. So, bhavam bhayashoka karanam viditva. Once I understand this world, if I am attached to it and identified with it, becomes a cause for my fears, sorrows and all sorts of calamities. When is it a cause of fear, sorrow, etc.? So he is saying, Adav, in the beginning. So a jnani, or not a jnani, but a very advanced seeker, he is sitting and then he is, even in childhood, so much problem this gave me. When we read Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya's Shiva Prada Kshamapana Stotram, there it is, the spirit is very different. There Bhagavan says that, O Lord Shiva, I did not remember you. It was very difficult for me to remember you in the womb because I was sitting there and so much of heat generated by my mother's tummy and all, and then this constricted space and all. It was not possible. So I thought, okay, let me come out. After that, I will take your name. When I came out also, child's problems nobody can understand. All the time hunger, and if tummy is full, some ant will come and bite and go away. Nobody will know, and I can't even tell someone, and I can't do anything. Too difficult. So I thought, okay, let me grow up a little, then I will take your name. Then youth, that problem is completely different type of problem. So many distractions, that also I did not do. Then I said, okay, after I get old, that time definitely I can do. Then when I got old, I feel earlier only I should have taken your name. Now, that is a different way Bhagavan is putting. But the point is, that time also, this identification, this attachment, that only caused problem. Okay, Madhye means youthhood. At that time also it was this only. It wasn't something else that became my problem. This only. And Antataha means now. So whatever previous phases of my life, and even now, if I see Adi, Madhya, Anta. In any way we can understand this. Even in one day, morning wake up, this problem. Because what happens when I wake up? Immediately identification happens, then I start functioning in the world. So this identification immediately. So this morning, then in the day, again this identification only, this attachment only, and antatah means towards the end of the day, while I am ready to go to bed, that time also this identification and attachment only is the cause of any type of fear or sorrow. So bhayashoka karanam bhavam viditva, when beginning, middle, end, throughout, I find myself caught up in this samsara, then what happens? Once I understand this to be the cause of my fears and sorrows, etc., little bit I've stepped back and I recognize it. As soon as I recognize, if that firm conviction comes, then will I let it be? If something is not recognized, then it is there, okay. But if I have recognized it, that this is causing me problem, then I don't want that cause of the problem to stay on. If there is, let us say, an ulcer in the mouth or in the stomach or somewhere, and that is creating trouble, and the doctor says we have to treat it. No, let it be. Because Guruji said something very interesting, that our craze for things coming from abroad, So there was this man having some problem with the eye. So then the doctor examined, said, your eyes are all fine, but there is some foreign particle, should I remove it? So he says, foreign particle, let me think about it. But the moment I understand that this foreign particle is causing the trouble that I am having, I want to immediately remove it, even if it is called foreign particle. But I want it out. I don't want this trouble. The moment I understand that this bhava, this samsara, this identification, this attachment, this wrong relationship, this is causing problem to me, then what happens? Hitva. Then I give up. From my side, there is no holding on. Because from the samsara side, there is absolutely no holding on. The world is not catching us. It is not holding us. It is not binding us. The world is as it is. In Mahabharata, there is a very strong statement made that this is what is an example of one-sided love. So this is the man's love for wealth. It is one-sided love. The wealth does not care about man. Wealth is not loyal to man. Somebody else takes it away, wealth serves that person. Whoever is the owner, bas. Oh, you were with me for such a long time. Now how can you go? Wealth has no, but we are attached. And when we understand this is my attachment, when I let go of, it is not holding anyways. So beautifully, in other places it is also described that somebody is trapped in a room, but the door is closed from inside. Nobody has locked us from outside. And I feel I am trapped. How will I get out? How will I get out? I have to. So that is why once I apprehend the problem, then hitva samastam. Then to give it up, to loosen my hold at least, that is my step. Samastam, and he says, Samastam what? This has to be read, at this stage. We have to understand, this has been said, verse number 55, in a text which has 62 verses. So we have to understand, otherwise, what is written? What is he saying? Hitva samastam vidhivada choditam means all that has been told in the Veda, vidhi means Veda. Give up everything. So you are asking me to give up all Veda? Not for a beginner, not even for a person who has been there on the path for some time. It is a highly advanced seeker who is just there or reached already. Such a person only this is talking about. What is this Vidivada Choditam? That is all we have to see. See, Veda is knowledge. All types of knowledge is Veda. So when we say Vedanta, means it is talking about self-knowledge. But here the word Vidhi is used to indicate Veda. Vidhi means the obligatory duties, or the do's and don'ts. In that, Vidhi is do's and Nisheda is don'ts. So now what is do's, what is to be done? Now what is to be done is karma. And Vidhi talks about, or Veda talks about different types of karma, and not just karma, it's phala also. So if you do this, you will get this. Where? Remaining in the framework of this samsara only. For example, when I am in the dream laws and rules will apply. In the dream, if I slip or something, I will fall down because the gravitation of the dream will pull me downwards. As such, what is it? It is only a projection of the mind. Where did gravitation come from? In that projection of the mind, there is no gravitation as such. Because mind is not falling. Can the mind be affected by gravitation? Even if there is gravitational pull of the earth, my mind can go to the stars. Why the body is not able to go? Because body is following this. Same way in the dream, although it is only mind, but still there is gravitation of that dream world which is pulling me down, and the physical body, the so-called physical body, which is actually the projection of the mind in the dream, which is not affected by gravitation otherwise, but the dream gravitation will have effect on that. So the rules are applicable in that realm of experience. It may not be applicable, it will not be applicable once I wake up from the dream. Similarly, till the time we are in that state of ignorance, all these rules are necessary. You do this, you will get this. Whether it is Vaidika or Laukika. In the Veda, it is you do this action and you will get next janma of this, or you will go to Swarga, you will have this kind of life ahead. All these things are promised. But what is the important point in this is, it is all promised in that framework of ignorance only. So till the time you are in samsara, everything is available. Till the time there is no problem. Why? All the rules of that samsara are applicable. So if I do something wrong, I will get some other result. But if I do good things, I will get good things also. So this Vidivada Choditam means this karma and karma phala that is being talked about, it is as a rule in this realm, it is necessary, no doubt about it. But for a person who is launching out of this, for such a person, he leaves behind all these things. In my dream, there may be a person who is living a very dharmic life, performing Agnihotra in the morning and doing lot of charity and helping people and so many things that person may be doing. But once I wake up, what happened? I left everything. So that state, hitva samastam vidivada choditam. This is one. Another meaning of this is that every action and its result has been described or indicated in the Veda. For whom? If it is action that you should do this, Vidhi means do this, so you should do this. Who should do this? There's a jiva, there's a doer. Okay, if you do this, you will get this. Who will get this? Who will enjoy or suffer the result? The bhokta. So the karta and bhokta. So the karma and karma phala are indicated in the Veda for karta and bhokta. Now karta and bhokta means what? Karta and bhokta means Vishwa Tejas Prajna only. Vishwa Tejas Prajna means what? It is the jiva. Jiva means what? It is the ego. it is the individuality, it is a reflection of consciousness, whatever word we may use. It is that ignorant fellow who considers himself to be something he is not. So it is that one who is identified with the body, mind, or intellect and functioning in this world, tied up by I and my, and the subsequent likes and dislikes. For this person, Vidhi Nisheda is required. But the one who is gone beyond this Vishwataijas Prajna, who has recognized this to be the very cause of the fears and sorrows and limitations and is giving up, obviously that Vidhi Nisheda also doesn't apply to such a person. So, hitva samastam vidhivada choditam. So, leaving. So then it is for the ego. Now the ego is not there. It is that droplet of ego is merged with that infinite ocean. Then what rules for the ego apply here? So this can be taken as dream and waking up from the dream, or this can be taken as in the seat of meditation. When I am understanding or I am experiencing that oneness, my true self, that Atman, then I understand there is nothing else. Then for such a person, what vidhi, what nisheda? Then what does he do? Bhajet. Bhajet does not mean bhajan only. That is also the meaning. But bhajet means to revel in or to know, to stay, to be in touch. Bhaja word in Sanskrit is at bhaja sevayam. Seva. Now this seva word also has two meanings. Seva is that service which we offer to the Lord or through the Guru. That is one seva. Seva also means experience. That is why we say, when we go to the doctor, then doctor says, is aushadhi ka sevan kare. Sevan. We use this word in Hindi also. Means what? To experience. So, bhajet means experience. What? Swam atmanam. One's own self. Abide in that. Hitva samastam. Leaving everything. Just abide in that. What is this swam atmanam? What is that myself? Atha akhilatmanam atmanam, which is the self of all. So, experience, abide, revel in that self, myself, which is the self of all. That one self, infinite self. Just revel in that. This is the meaning of the very famous shloka of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. What does this mean? Hitva Samastam Vidivada Choditam. All dharma give up. What is that? Dharma, Vidhi Nisheda, do's, don'ts. All this you give. Why? Because you leave that and get established where? Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. There again Bhagavan is using the first person pronoun for indicating the Supreme Self. And then what is there? Ma Shuchaha. There is no, you will be free. No sorrow. Because the karana of sorrow, Bhaya Shoka Karanam, has been given up. It's gone. So this bhajet, this kind of verbs, they are in various ways. One can take it as bhajet, suggestion. One may do that. Or bhajet means command. One must do this only. Or bhajet means it is stating a matter of fact that a man of knowledge is like this only. So in any, so if I am reading this as a seeker, then for me it is a command. But if I am reading this as an indication of the man of knowledge, then this is just a matter of fact that this is how that person lives in reveling in the self, and that self which is the self in all. Bhajet sada, bhajet swam atmanam akhilatmana. Now, further he says, this is again very beautiful verses, these last few verses. आत्मन्यभेदेन विभावयन्निदम् आत्मन्यभेदेन विभावयन्निदम् भवत्यभेदेन मयात्मना तदा भवत्यभेदेन मयात्मना तदा यथा जलं वारिनिधौ यथापयः यथापयः क्षीरे वियद्व्योम्न्यनिले यथानिलः वियद्व्योम्न्यनिले यथानिलः. Such a person of knowledge, whenever a man of knowledge is not described but indicated by various words, in the scriptures, it has to be understood it is not a descriptor of a man of knowledge. Because like the knowledge, the person who has realized also cannot be described. It is not possible. Then what are these words for? These words are for us to walk this path. The qualities which are found in a person of knowledge, they are effortlessly found in them. They don't have to do anything for getting here. It is natural for them. But when we seekers read this, then it is meant to be followed. So in our case, all this has to be done. Effort is needed. Whereas in the case of a person of realization, it is effortless. So that is why it is at siddhasya lakshanani sadhakasya sadhanani. The attributes of a man of perfection is the effort to be put for a seeker. So here he is saying, Atmani abhedena vibhavayan idam. So a person who is a person of realization, that realized master, for him, he looks at this world, idam, and he feels there is nothing different from me. Atmani abhedena, there is no difference. What? Idam, all this. Vibhavayan. Vibhavayan means, bhava means to be. So to be experiencing, to be in that state where he sees idam, this is not different from Atma, me. So there is no this. Today there is a distinction. If we have to find an opposite of I, what would that be? It has to be this. This, I. This can become that, that can become this, all that is possible. But this can never become I. I can never become this. I cannot experience myself as an object, and an object can never be experienced as my own self. So this and I. In this state now, this distinction exists. And it helps me that, okay, withdraw your mind from all that is recognized as this. So this world of objects, this body, this mind, this intellect, all this is gone. Then I alone remain. But when that I comes, that real I is experienced, then I understand there is no this. All this is actually within me only. As a possibility, it just comes up. That's all. There is nothing other than me. So, idam atmani abhedena vibhavayan. One who is vibhavayan is present continuous tense. So, right now, so experiencing all this to be not separate from me. So, all this actually is within me only. In that way, bhavati abhedena mayatmana tada. Shri Ramchandra ji says, when this happens, when one understands the real self and absorbed in the self, he understands there is no world other than me. Such a person, Bhagavan is saying, he will understand that I am also not different from him. See, in any philosophical thought, there are these three parts. Thinking about these three parts, if we exhaustively, comprehensively think about these three things, then it is called a philosophy. What are the three elements? I, the jiva, the experiencer. Experiencer of what? The world, Jagat. But Jiva and Jagat, Jagat is the field of experience, Jiva is the experiencer. So for one Jiva, all the other Jivas are also Jagat only. Because they are all experienced, field of experience. So Jiva, Jagat. Okay. Has Jiva created Jagat? No, Jiva is in fact born in Jagat. Okay, has Jagat created Jiva? Jagat is inert, Jiva is conscious. How can Jagat create Jiva? So, Jiva has not created Jagat, Jagat has not created Jiva, then both of them, where did they come from? Just by themselves? That is also not possible. So, there has to be some cause of any effect. So, then who is the cause? So, that third element is called Ishvara. So, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. These three. And these three always remain different for a person who is ignorant. Because at the level of the body, mind or intellect, there has to be always differences. A drop of water and an ocean, both are going to be different only. If we say that, okay, with this drop of water, I am going to quench the thirst. Thirst of who? Maybe an ant, maybe a little tiny animal or insect or something. But one drop of water, it is not adequate to quench any human being's thirst. Even the one who is not thirsty, for that person also it will be insufficient. So what? But if there is so much, a lake full of water, then there is enough for animals, birds, humans, everyone. People are drinking. So, there is difference existing in terms of droplet and lake. But if we analyze, what is the chemical constitution of both this? Here also there is H2O, here also there is H2O. So, this is same water only, no difference. So, similarly, I as an individual existence entity, Jiva, from the standpoint of my instruments, will always be different from the Jagat. And this Jiva and Jagat are different, and not only they are mutually different, but both these will be different from its cause, Ishvara. Because where is the starting point of our observation? From Jiva, from the standpoint of identification. So when I am identified, that is where my journey is starting. What is my reference point? Identified with the body. Who are you? This much. Now if I am this much, then all this, that's not me. Bheda happened. Now if these two Bheda happened, if I am different and this world is different, both are incomplete. And the cause of this is complete. So naturally that will also be different. So if I say finite world and finite jiva and their cause is infinite Ishvara, okay. So all three will always be different for a person because our journey is starting from here. But once started from here, slowly withdrawing, I reach that real self. And then I open my eyes and say, all this is not different from me. And when I say all this is not different from me, then if there is only one entity, then where is Ishvara? That is also me only. How can there be another Ishvara who is limiting this infinite? Infinite can be only one. So if I have recognized this, then I have recognized Ishvara also. That is why this knowledge is said to be knowing which everything is known. The entire Jagat and Ishvara, everything is known as my own self. So the one who was considering himself to be a jiva and always different from Ishvara and always experiencing and a victim of the Jagat, all these things. Here he is saying, Atmani abhedena vibhavayanidam, when this Jagat is understood or experienced as the self alone, nothing different from it, then such a person, bhavati abhedena maya atmana tada, then he becomes one with me also. How to attain the Lord? This is how. The Bhagavan is saying, this is how you will attain me also. Now, if we look at this first two lines of this verse, the first half of this verse, this is called in Vedanta as a Mahavakya. Mahavakya is all those great statements in the scriptures which indicate the oneness between the individual and the total. So where all the statements that indicate that I, who consider myself to be a limited entity, am actually in real sense the infinite reality. To all the declarations in the Upanishads and any Vedantic text where this oneness is being established or declared is called Mahavakya. So here Bhagavan is saying, he has said Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, all one only. And such a Jnani, he has experienced this. So for us also, as a sadhaka, what is the experience or what is the learning? So here we need to understand that if our first journey, okay, I want to establish my oneness plus with Ishvara. He says, don't worry, don't try to do that. First try to do with Jagat. What am I seeing? In my Vyavahara, how can I improve? See, at the level of body, mind and all, there will be differences. That cannot be denied. But the point is, what am I giving importance to? Is it the points of differences or is it the point of commonalities? Because when I start giving importance to that which is common, then there is more oneness. I am bringing things together. But when I pay attention to the differences, I am actually scattering things. And scattering things is not moving towards this. So our sadhana has to be moving towards the integration and oneness, the absolute oneness. But for that to happen, I have to start in my day-to-day life. I have to try and bring things together. So, idam has to be first merged into this self. That accommodativeness is required first. And then, Bhagavan says, as a result, one gets that oneness with the Lord. Mama. So here, of course, he is not talking about the Saguna Ishvara. He is talking about that Nirguna Brahma. In that spirit he is talking about. How is this oneness? What kind of oneness is this? No, I merge into the Lord. I become one with the Lord. Now these are all expressions we have to say. Now what happens? Now as soon as I say I become one with the Lord, means I was not, I was different from Him, and then suddenly one day, over. Does that happen like that? So he has given 4 examples. What does that merging mean? 4 examples. 1. Yatha jalam varinidhau. Like a droplet merging into the ocean. What is the merging? The droplet was water, ocean was water. Both were already one. It is only from the standpoint of the upadhi that this was 1 ml water and this is gallons and gallons of that. So that is quantity. Quantity is different, but water is water only. So how does it matter whether it is a drop or an ocean? It is water only. The real identity of the droplet also is that same real identity of the ocean. So this is the merging. Merging is not something was really different and then became one. No. It was never different. Second example, yatha payaha kshire. Like 1 glass of milk is put into 1 vessel full of milk. What new thing has been added? Oh, this glass of milk now has become one with the vessel of milk. So milk has become milk. Why are you even saying that? It was milk in the glass? Yes. Now it is gone in there. Now also it is milk? Yes. Then what has happened? What new thing happened? Only glass and vessel is the difference. That anyway we are not we are not denying. Glass and vessel will always be different. But the milk and milk is always the same. So, payaha kshire. Third example, viyad vyomni. Space in space. Like we saw the example of pot space and outer space. So now pot space merged into outer space. What merging? It was already space. So the difference comes because of the pot, not the space. So this pot is the point of difference, not the space. So similarly, this body is the point of difference, not the self. It is one and the same. In fact, this body is in the self. So we often say, no, that Atma is inside this body. It is not wrong. It is inside, but it is in the outside also. And if something is inside also and outside also, which means the relationship is totally opposite. If there is water inside the pot and outside the pot, what does it mean? The pot is in water. So if the self is inside the body, outside the body, what does it mean? The body is in the self. So it is not that the self is sitting inside the body, poor thing, looking out. When will I be released from here? It is not like that. So here, vyad vyomni, space into space. And anile yatha anilaha, wind or air. Air merging into air. What are you doing? I am adding some air to the atmosphere by breathing out. It was air only inside, it has become air only. No, balloon inside air. Now, when the balloon bursts, then what happens? All that balloon air merges into air. It is an event. What event? It was air only. Balloon was the point of difference, that's all. We think that balloon, we give all importance to that balloon, which anyway will burst one day. But what air into air or space into space, water into water, milk into milk, it was always one. It is only the limiting factor or the upadhi which is different. And at the level of upadhi, if it will be different. Upadhis are plural only, but the self is always singular. So, yatha anile anilaha. Acha. Then further, Bhagavan says, Itham yadiksheta hiloka samsthito. Yadiksheta hiloka samsthito. Jagan mrishaiveti vibhavayan munihi. मृषैवेति विभावयन् मुनिः निराकृतत्वात् श्रुतियुक्तिमानतो कृतत्वात् श्रुतियुक्तिमानतो यथेन्दुभेदादिशि दिग्भ्रमादयः अदयः. हाँ, इत्थम, in this manner, like earlier we saw another word, evam. Here, itham means in this manner. Yad iksheta, yadi iksheta, if one sees in this manner, if one sees means not with the physical eyes, sees means understands, comprehends, or experiences. If one experiences in this manner, when does it, what kind of person? Someone who is living on the mountains or in the caves or in the forests or in the loka samsthitaha api, even if living in the world. So this knowledge is available for everyone. It is not for a selected few. That is the main point. Loka samsthitaha api, even if he is living in this world. Obviously, he is living in the world, he is not of the world. So he is in the world, living in the world. Jagan mrisha eva iti vibhavayan munihi, living in the world, experiencing the world, going through these various experiences. If he is a muni, muni means person who reflects, manana shilaha munihi. So such a muni, if he is living in the world but he is also a person of reflection, such a person, when he yadi iksheta, once if he comes to understand what jagat mrisha eva iti, that this whole jagat is actually unreal. Once if he understands this, vibhavayan, and experiences it, then nirakritatvat, then what happens? It is falsified. Once I understand that this is not real, because of it being falsified that way, how is it falsified? Shruti yukti manatah. Shruti, by the scriptural injunctions, yukti, logical thinking, mana also anumana actually, logic only, inferences, etc. And the third one is anubhava also, by experience also. That I find that, the world, I feel that it is real, but that it is constantly changing, experience based, logic based, and scripture based. In all this way, because it is refuted, falsified, therefore, then what happens? Then there is no jagat for that person. Only I alone am. For similar to a person who has woken up from a dream. So how is it possible then? So far I have been seeing this world and it looks so real. How is it possible? So it is possible. But how? Examples. What? Yatha Indu Bhedaha. A very famous example in Vedanta. Bhagavan Shankaracharya has also given this example. If I just press a little bit under my eye, little bit if I press, then what happens? I start seeing double. And suddenly I'll start seeing double. Or even little bit if we squint our eye, then I'll see double things. So here is saying moon, sometimes it appears that there are two moons in the sky. The problem is not with the moon. The problem is with my eyes. I am seeing double. This man came to this doctor, ophthalmologist, eye doctor. Said, "Doctor, I have a big problem." "What?" I can see two of you sitting there. Everything double only I am seeing. Two of you sitting there. The doctor said, "All four of you have the same problem." डॉक्टर उससे बदतर था. 4 he could see. The problem is in the eye, not in the world outside. So here also, that Jagat, which is such an important thing for me, even living in this world, once I realize that it is Mrisha eva, it is unreal, then there is nothing that will affect me. And to support this experience, there is also the scriptural injunctions, there is also logical thinking. I say that even world means it includes the body also. So childhood, I remember? Yes, I remember. Now if I was not there, how will I remember? So I was there in childhood, obviously I was there. But was this body available in childhood? This body was not there. Because from childhood, this body has completely changed so many times. Because all the cells that were there at that time have all died and given way to new cells. So right now, the body that we have is not the body that we were born with. But I remember my childhood. Which means, and this body was not there at that time, but I still remember, which means I was there at that time. Logic. So which means I have not changed, but the world has changed. Yukti. So when I look, my experience, logic, scriptures, all this help me. So once I see this, then the Muni, but the person who is talked about, even living in this world, has to be a Muni. Muni means a thinker, one who reflects upon the experiences of life, one who looks at the world and thinks about it. Actually, Muni, this Mananam, the Man Dhatu also gives rise to Manushya. It is not just because we are the descendants of King Manu. That is also there, that Manu's descendants are called Manushya, Manava, all that is there. But another reason is because we can think beyond what is seen. So Sanskrit language is so rich. Just the word will indicate what it means. The etymological meaning itself is so clear. An animal is called Pashu. Pashu comes from the word Pashyati, sees. So those who live a life where they consider seeing is believing, means senses, whatever the senses show me, that is true. That is called Pashu. But the person who goes beyond the senses and says, this is apparent, but the reality is something beyond this. Thinking. Man. That is called Manushya. And that is called here Muni. Muni means the person who is, contemplative, who can reflect upon experiences of life. Such a person, even living in this world, here Gurudev is saying, what living in this world? Even if he is worldly minded. But little thinking, that's it, the whole life can change. So he can, loka samsitaha, he is living in the world. But if he is a thinker, if he can examine this world, And that is what even in the Upanishads it said, the moment you examine the experiences in this world, Vairagya is natural. But that examined, that is what they said, that an unexamined life is not worth living. So constant examination. Am I living? Is this the right? Am I moving in the right direction? What is this? Is this real? That which I am giving so much reality to, is it real? I then realized, Jagad Mrisha eva. Oh, if it was unreal, then why did it appear real? That was a problem of this person who was seeing it and considering it is real. Like Indu Bhedaha. Or another is Digbhramaadayaha, going to a new place, Dishi in different directions, and then I said, where do I have to go? Which direction? I am lost. So Digbhrama, when we go to a new place, unfamiliar place, we are looking around, I don't know where to go. There is nothing wrong with the place. This place is very too difficult, ये तो भूल भुलैया ही है. कोई भूल भुलैया नहीं है. Once we get familiarized, it is as simple as that. But we feel, no, I am lost. I am lost because I am not familiar with it. So a person living in the world also is lost among the sense objects because one is not thinking. So it is in a way tracing back our steps. That I went somewhere, now I have to reach back. So I have to trace back my steps. Where did I come from? How did this come? Even day-to-day life, if we can make this a habit, that when my mind is agitated, it gets agitated. Sooner or later, I come to know also that my mind is agitated. So sooner I come to know it is good. So awareness has to be there. But not just that, I also go back and say, where did this come from? What was the triggering point? Because sometimes I understand there is nothing triggering outside. Inside something happened and my mind is agitated. Nothing outside, everything is fine. But I have to examine that. What happened? Why suddenly I was so happy, cheerful, suddenly this agitation, where did it come from? So I listened to something, I did something, I thought something, I remembered something, I saw something. What happened? So once I start examining, this slowly becomes a habit to examine life at large, about my existence, my identity. I say, this Jagat to which I was giving so much importance, Mrisha eva. What importance I will give? Mrisha. So then that person, he is experiencing that this is Mrisha, but I am established in my own self. So we'll see further tomorrow. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ